All right, Simply Bitcoin. We break down the news from Twitter, the daily fail, meme review, software releases, the websites by plebes. Drop us a like and subscribe. All right, we're going to the numbers. Let's do it. All right, we are currently at a block height of 673,176. Current Bitcoin price 48,155. Chain rewrite days 609. Total lightning capacity 1,111.82. Bitcoin versus gold market cap still a healthy 8.10%. And sats per dollar back up above 2K. We're at 2,077.
Numbers are looking spectacular. I saw in a tweet today, but I don't remember which one, that we have been, I think it's over a month now, over 42K. Bitcoin has been at those levels. So these levels are absolutely mind-blowing, especially if you've been here, as long as us, right? This is absolutely crazy. But unfortunately, no Satoshi, the Bitcoin rubber chicken, because he only clucks when the price of Bitcoin reaches an all-time high, which, Phil, I think is coming very soon. But that being said, it's time for
the daily fail. All right, everyone. This is a bit of a tough one, right? Our boy, Documenting Bitcoin, he's obviously not the fail, but he has presented us with this horrible, wrecked story. Long story short, when the price fell, and just keep in mind, this is from 7 years ago. When the price fell from 220 to 180 a couple of days ago, I convinced my girlfriend that she and I should pool together our savings and retirement funds to buy as many Bitcoins as we could. I assured her that they would rise back up to 220 and even up to 300 based on what everyone here in this subreddit was saying. All that Spartans hold off stuff. Anyway, since she saw on the news that they have crashed down to 66, she's hysterical. She started crying and panicking. We put in at least 80K into it all, and that has all gone down to around 26,000. She told me to sell it all, and we have. She has packed her things and is now staying at her sister's place. I can't believe how big I effed up here. All right, so look, that's just a very painful story to see, right? We're obviously not gonna really, dump on this person, but at the same time, his girlfriend, unfortunately, has really high time preference. and she totally caused them to stay poor. She screwed up. So I know he probably blamed himself. I don't even want to think of what this person is thinking about now, but hopefully if, she saw, she has seen where Bitcoin has gone and has maybe learned since that, things are not always as they seem. And sometimes if you're not sure, you should do a little research, to gain some conviction in what you've done. Because don't get me wrong, but $80,000, that's not chump change. With 80K, there's a lot of research that would have gone behind that. And another thing I want to note, which is not really a fail, but interesting, right? I don't know this Spartans hold term. So you can see I came after after 2013. So I guess at some point that was the thing, Spartans hold. Meh.
But no, man, dude, listen, the guy got out of a bad situation, because that chick would have been horrible. Imagine if they
lifetime of high time preference,
dude, and he would have realized, oh my God, I'd be furious. So good for him, but overall just a crappy situation. But man, there's so many of those, and it's just it's a really good lesson. Hodl. Okay, hodl no matter what, and if she wants to leave because you hodling, let her leave. Okay, just let her leave, let her go free, because you're gonna regret it after, amazing fail, like always, Phil. That being said, it's time for
the daily meme review.
All right, everybody, the meme for today is brought to us by BTC Disciple. Check it out. It's the Fed, the hodler, ordinary Americans. You can only watch. Man, it is kind of a piece of art, Phil. I'm not gonna lie. It's a piece of art, but you get it? The Fed,
I mean, I get it.
Hodler just watching by, and then just ordinary Americans, because the Fed just screws over ordinary Americans.
Again, I get it, but I don't think many people are going to get it. I think you need to have a lot of specific knowledge. I mean, don't get me wrong. I like it. I don't know.
I like it too, but now that you said that, it is very hard to kind of understand.
Like, not everyone's going to get that.
Not everyone's going to get that. You're right. So for that, it was not that many people are going to get it. So for that, I'm going to give it an empty Ritz wrapper. What about you?
I like Ritz. It's a good cracker. It's a solid cracker. I think it's better than the saltines. Anyways, yeah, I am going to go with what I think is a mushroom. Pretty sure that's a mushroom. I'm not really sure.
Excellent scores. A mushroom, an empty Ritz wrapper. Man, these are in our scoring system. Those are pretty up there, right? But anyways, Phil, I think it's time for
the Daily News, sponsored by Crypto Cloaks.
All right, everybody. The news for today. Well, listen, Honey Badger doesn't care. Neither do we. But, it's just another victim of what happens when you go against NGU technology, aka number go up technology. Kevin O'Leary calls Bitcoin garbage and a takedown of the whole cryptocurrency industry. Note the date, ladies and gentlemen, May 14th, 2019. And then not so soon after, 4 days ago, so about a year after, Shark Tank Kevin O'Leary's reverses stance on Bitcoin, says crypto is here to stay, invests 3% of his portfolio. 3% is a start, but I'm not wearing the I told you so sweater today, but we told you so, Mr. Kevin O'Leary. Number go up technology is just, don't bet against the Honey Badger. Every single person that has gets wrecked. Why don't you take a look at Peter Schiff? Just look at his account. It's just entertaining. He's a
living wrecked machine.
He's a living wrecked machine. Just totally wrecked. This guy had the chance to dump his shiny rocks and buy Bitcoin in like 2013, because that's when he started criticizing it. But no, it's still gonna go down. Bro. Anyways, get carried away. Phil, what are your thoughts on another victim of NGU technology?
Mr. Wonderful. So yeah, of all of them, right? Of all the Shark Tank dudes, I mean, he's probably the one that you'd think is the most, kind of like, business minded and ruthless and whatnot. And I'd even venture out to say that maybe even the one that would do the most research and the most, kind of digging, right? Like down to the cent of what he can, because what I don't like, okay, what I've seen is some people choose to look at Bitcoin as only an asset, a commodity, like they don't understand the underlying technology, the philosophy, which is perfectly fine, but still they try to, the problem is, it's okay if you believe that. The problem is when you try to sell other people on that ridiculous idea. And you try to make it that that's what Bitcoin's all about, which is not. But anyways, so for him, he really sees it in this very specific light. Okay? So it's like we've opened the tunnel vision just a bit. But he's not, he ain't there yet. You know what I mean?
He ain't there yet.
He'll never really be there, but it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
He's already leaning towards it and he's getting it.
But
so that's a start.
You know what, Phil? He is totally getting it because he's got laser eyes on Twitter, right? So, yeah, but I do agree. 3% is he's just putting his, toes in the water, testing out how he likes the water, but he'll come around. But it doesn't matter. Honey Badger doesn't care. But anyways, the next piece of news, which we reported on yesterday's episode, unfortunately, we had some audio issues. We're trying to up the production, so bear with us.
Better for you guys.
We are trying to make it better for you guys. So we're trying to get better cameras, better all of that. We're trying to figure it out. So bear with us. We will make mistakes. We're just trying. We're figuring this out as we go. Okay, and it's fun. But anyways, I digress. U.S. prosecutors discussing surrender agreement with former BitMEX CEO Arthur Hayes. Of course, this ends the Where is Arthur Hayes saga that we've been covering around ever since the U.S. Department of Justice and the U.S. government basically pressed charges against top BitMEX executives because they feel like they broke the Bank Secrecy Act. And of course that means KYC, and BitMEX really never KYC'd. So man, it's just look, Arthur must feel, or Mr. Hayes, whoever you want to call him, must feel like he has some type of deal with the government, because that's the only reason that I feel like he would surrender, Phil. So he must feel like, okay, they're going to give me a slap on the wrist. They're going to make me pay a fine. They're going to pay me. They're going to make me pay a bunch of money, and they're going to make an example of me so that other exchanges don't go against, the U.S. government, Bank Secrecy Act, KYC regulations, which we've been reporting. That's exactly what the U.S. government's trying to do, is that they're trying to basically tie every Bitcoin address with an identity, which is like an extension of their current system. So they're trying to make an example of Arthur Hayes. Arthur Hayes, I think, like I said, Phil, I don't think he's going to get much, but man, I guess this is the conclusion of the saga. What do you think, Phil?
Yeah, I think it's, that's it, right? He's finally figured out that, he's done enough talking with his lawyers. I think he kind of has a decent idea of like the type of situation it's going to be. He's, I believe, based on what we're seeing, has accepted that outcome, and, knows that, it's like ripping the Band-Aid off, right? He's just going to rip the Band-Aid off quick. And just, okay, let's go. Let's get this over with and let's move on.
Exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
But I'm pretty sure he just didn't want to do that until he had an accurate idea of what the whole situation was like. First, right?
Exactly. And I completely agree. I really don't think he's gonna, voluntarily turn himself in unless he felt like he was
gonna rip him apart.
Get just a small slap on the wrist. But everyone wins in that situation, I guess. But anyways, we had to cover it because, man, that was the Arthur Hayes saga. But anyways, the headline story for today, which we also covered yesterday, very frustrating, but I wanted to bring up again because apparently a shitcoiner in our comments was bringing up the China FUD. MSNBC is bringing up the China FUD once again. And the China FUD is essentially, the Chinese government's going to, ban Bitcoin. We're not going to talk about that today because we've talked about that a lot recently. Second, they're going to ban essentially Bitcoin mining because according to mainstream media, Bitcoin mining uses so much power. Okay, so in terms of power, no, man. In terms of non-clean energy, which they also say as well, that's not true. The majority of the hash rate in China comes from isolated hydroelectric energy production, which means it's green because it's not coming from burning fossil fuels. And if it was in need by someone else, right, then it wouldn't be cheap enough to mine Bitcoin, right? So it's just stupid. But anyways, even if that were true, even if it was true that China was banning all the Bitcoin mining, it doesn't matter because we were talking about this. We were talking about the judicial arbitrage. There's going to be places like around the world that are going to be like, okay, if you want to ban mining, mine over here because it's more for that country or that government to gain. We see this with the mayor of Miami essentially say, hey, look, Bitcoin business, come here. And then on the other side, you see the New York Attorney General saying, listen, don't ban cryptocurrencies, don't buy Bitcoin. You see Janice Yellen, U.S. Treasury Secretary, saying the same thing, Christine Lagarde, et cetera, et cetera. But, in this specific case, if China bans Bitcoin mining, look at Kentucky. Kentucky basically saying, look, the lawmakers want to incentivize advanced data centers. Yes, that applies to mining, to come into Kentucky, and they'll pay cheaper electricity costs. And then you even see governments themselves, like Pakistan. It says to set up 2 state-owned Bitcoin mining farms. They're not the only one. You also saw Venezuela. You saw that propaganda video we showed you guys on another episode, that propaganda video of essentially just the Venezuelan government putting the miners together. So, man, basically, if you are a country or if you are like a city and you decide to ban Bitcoin, another country, another city is going to see that as an opportunity and they're going to take it, and you're going to have fun staying poor. And that sounds super hyperbolic. It sounds super, but man, if you believe what we believe, which is we believe Bitcoin is going to be the next global reserve currency, then you would understand why it's so detrimental to be one of the last people to start buying into Bitcoin, right? So yeah, man, Phil, it just makes our job super easy. But I'm curious to think, what are your thoughts, man?
So couple of things on those different articles that you showed. So number one, Kentucky. Kudos to them, right? Because I don't know how many people know about, I feel like Kentucky doesn't get really covered that often in the national news at all. But, Kentucky has a pretty high unemployment rate. They've got, certain parts of it have, massive issues, like with meth and stuff like that. So this is actually a really good thing for Kentucky, right? To help them kind of, start to build back up, so to speak, properly, not the fake bullshit political term of building back better, but like the real thing where they actually go and bring, real business to the area, sustaining business like data centers. And who knows, maybe the miners will make their way over to Kentucky. You never know. But anyways, besides that, just to go on this thing about China, right? That article was like FUD. It's a FUD article. And then there was FUD in the FUD article. It was like another FUD, so it was a FUD reason, right? The energy. And then the article itself was FUD as well. Because at the end of the day, look, who cares? We know what's going to happen. It's lucrative enough for any other player to step in and say, okay, well, guess what? If you're not going to mine it, well, then guess what? That opens up the market to somebody else to mine it. Someone else will take your place, and you will simply be outside of that opportunity, outside of that ecosystem. Okay. I've it's very rarely that I've seen, that I've seen a situation where somebody actually, or, an entity actually decides to go and shoot themselves in the foot on purpose. But hey, you're not going to stop them while they're making a mistake. Go right ahead. Go right ahead, man. And they're doing it consciously. They're just like, okay, it's their decision. You're exactly right. Come along. You even showed Pakistan. You're going to tell me those places have super high energy costs? You think China's the only place that has cheap energy? Not a fucking chance. Exactly. It's all bullshit. Okay, it's all bullshit and it's all bad for you. It's all bullshit. George Carlin.
George Carlin, epic comedian. Amen. Epic, man. But Phil, that being said, there was a software release today. Why don't you tell everybody about it?
Software releases. All right, so for software releases, we've got Lightning Terminal version 0.4.1 alpha that was released, and the details to that in the show notes.
Awesome. Thank you, Phil. All right, guys, that was our show. We apologize for missing yesterday's episode. We had some technical difficulties. Bear with us. Like I said, we're upgrading our production, but we'll try to get better. But anyways, yeah, exactly, Phil. But anyways, if you guys like the episode, you know what to do. Smash that like button. Smash it. Yeah, exactly. I'm looking at Phil saying smash it, so it's funny. And if you enjoy and if you love the episode, if you really like it, if you like our channel, if you like what we do, if you want us to defeat the shitcoin channels, please subscribe. We'd really appreciate it. And of course, we will see you tomorrow for another episode of Simply Bitcoin.